Okay, so we're going to now try and assemble the front brakes. And on the bike, the front brakes are drum brakes, which means really that when you pull the brake lever, it pulls the brakes like that, and they expand, and they rub against the outside casing of the hub, so it frictionally causes it to slow down like that. So I'll just snip off the spray guide wire. If you remember, that was on every single piece that went to the spray shop, so that we would make sure that we got all the bits back. Then slurp of tea. So this is the adjuster, and it goes through like that. Yep. So as you pull on the brake levers, it moves that, and as it moves that, so as you pull on the brake levers, oops, put it down, it moves, and do you see how it there? Look, it pushes them out, so that they push against the outside edge of the drum. Again, really you know, it's very simplistic engineering, but it works brilliantly. But what holds them to stop them from, you know, from springing back really, or what makes them spring back, are two springs. There, I don't know if you can see them. And these springs go on the pads, kind of like that. Very simple, they just hang on. But the problem is, you got to go against them, force them open, and one thing and another. And anybody who's done brakes like this on the old style way of doing brakes knows that that is going to be a pain in the backside to do. So I'm going to have a go at doing it, and we'll see. So I can get one on, which is usually the top one, which is easiest, and then we'll see if I can pull them apart. To get the bottom spring on. So you've got to make sure it's home. Ooh. It will go home in a second. There. You heard it click and go home. So I know that it's laying flat there, but look at that. Nothing. And I need to get that through. So, in the words of the Bernard Cribbin song, let's have a drink of tea. So I need to force it apart to be able to get that in and get that gap there to work onto that gap there. And I don't have the strength to be able to do it that way. And I'm sure there's millions of different ways of doing this, but let's see if I can undo it. And I don't want to scratch the paint if I can help it. Let's see if a screwdriver will work. Hey, a big screwdriver seems to be working on that. So let's see if I can angle that up. Nope. I bet you there's a BSA tool that you could use. That would force them open a little bit more. Let's just see if I can get it down there. I'm just trying to use this Hey, almost did it. I don't know if you can see, but I almost got it in with one go, because I don't want to scratch the paintwork. So let's get that hammer through screwdriver again. Before we do anything, slurp of tea. Let's see if we can just gently tap that down. Oh, it's almost there. It's almost there. Tapping it down. There's just, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there's just that little square there stopping it from coming through. You can better view that way really. I don't know if you, again the camera can't pick it up. So I'll just try and do it again with what I'm doing. Almost there. It's just coming through nice. You just see it popping through. Just there, so it's coming through. Slurp of tea. See if we can bring it home. And it's coming through. Oh, it's coming through, as you can see the threads are just there, so it's coming through, but it's just not square. So I'll get my pliers and see if I can twiddle it. Yeah, it's getting there, because it's going to go snap when I get it down past that wide part there, that wide part. There's a wide part just there. I'm just having a look, see if I can get it to show it to you. There's a wide part just there, which I need to get through onto that. And when I do, then these are going to go snap. So I'm going to make sure that my fingers are nowhere near as bad. So here we go, look. Ding! Did you hear it? Hey! There you go. Oh, look at that! Hey, nice and square, which is where the actuating lever will go on. Not on the top, and the home. All nice, clean and tidy, and I haven't scratched the paint. Well, that's an absolute bonus. So we'll put the washer on, put the nut on, and then make sure there's a spring washer, because we don't want anything to come off. Like I say, I keep putting spring washers on. Job done. Look at that. Agricultural engineering, as they say. But the brakes are done. Nice, fitting on there, okay. Nice on the actuating thing. Plenty of brake drum material left. And that is ready to go onto the front hub. And that's it. Let's put it on the front hub. But first, clear all the tools out of the way. Then we'll have a drink of tea. Ooh. So we're back on the wheel, and we've got the bearings in nice and tidy. We've tightened up the just doing a trial fit. Oh, look at that! Oh, isn't that wonderful? Oh, you don't know how many years I've waited to see that. Right, let's assemble a spindle drive and see if we can do it now. There we are. So, I'm going to be using the expanded diagram to make sure that I've got everything. And on this there and there with that threaded nut, we know that that threaded nut is in there. So the next thing that comes through after the threaded nut is number 13, and number 13, if I'm right, is the felt retaining washer, and we know that that goes on there like so. And then number 12 should be the hob felt washer, which, if you remember, we put a load of engine oil on, so it goes on onto there. And then number 11, which is the retainer cap, so that goes onto there like that. With me so far? Then, according to this, the hub goes on, the brake hub. Brake hub. Then, according to this, we've got 2 nuts. Do you know what? We've got 2 nuts, and they're nice and cleaned, and they go on the end of our spindle, which we know, because we've passed it through, we know it fits. So what I will do is I'll get some ordinary grease, not the high melting point grease now. I'll get some ordinary grease and put it on there so it keeps the threads nice and neat. In fact, I'll tell you what, I won't bother because I'm putting it through. So we'll get some, I'm going to use the high melting point grease, just rub it down all over it. You probably can't see it, but I'm just rubbing it all over. Just put a bit on the threads, work it in, and we know that that goes all the way through like so. And then, according to the book, we have 1 nut screwing home, and the other nut will follow it behind. And for now, that's gone through. Woohoo, get back on. Right, let's tap it through. Where's my little dead hammer thing? Just going to tap it through a bit more. Oh, look at that. Perfecto. Ho ho ho! And we can adjust that accordingly when it goes on it. So let's have a look on the other side. So we'll change the plan. So we're going to be back, here we are. We know that we've got the bearing on, so we need to know what number 27 is. And 27, according to this, is the steel washer. Which is that? And we know it's the right one because it's absolutely almost flush there. Then we know that 26 is the felt washer, and we'll check 26 hob felt washer. And just like before when we did it, I'll just put some I'll just put some engine oil on this, just a squirt, just to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do and catches any muck and dust. Goes on there, and then we have the cap. Goes over, and then we have one, two, three. So did I put some? I did. I've just put a little another smattering of grease on there. So we've got the nuts, and we have a brand new locking nut there because I bought a new one. The old one was a bit tatty. So just work it home. It's going home now. Locking nut. And the final wheel spindle nut. Now you can put shims on it if necessary to fluctuate it in and out, but I'm not going to do that just yet because I'm not at that position to be able to shim it or anything. But there's only one more thing to put on, which is the lever to operate the brakes, and I'll do that in a second, but I just want to do a trial experiment. Let's see if it'll spin. Oh, look at that. Oh, isn't that perfect? Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. To the pusher flip a little bit. Look at that. Superb. Right, so I'm just going to stop the camera while I go get the bracket, and then we'll put that one on. So just going to assemble the lever to make sure it goes on there, and it goes just kind of like that, so that when you pull the brake lever it pulls it up and it makes the brake shoes do that, and they in turn impact on the side of the brake. Let's put the lever home. I'll have to adjust it when it goes on the bike itself anyway, and it's got, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, so that the actual lever itself has got lots of, it's like a starred thing, and then that is square, so it's a matter of making a square in there somehow, just by jiggling it around and then putting it on. So we'll just put it on for now, just like that. Washer, spring washer, nut, and I bet if you twiddle it, look at that, perfect, absolutely perfect. Pull it, it won't move, and let go, perfect. And then it's a matter of adjusting it when we get it put on the bike. Job done. There we go. And the brake cable runs all the way from the handlebar lever down through the headlight, down through a space cut through on the bottom yoke, all the way down to the brake lever on the front wheel. So the first thing we need to do is to pass the brake cable up through the hole in the yoke, so it's passed through. Then we've got to get it through here, and then from there up to the brake lever, which is up here. So as you can see, there's a hole there in the thing, and it needs a rubber grommet to go through it. Now I looked on eBay to find out how much these rubber grommets were, and they were about £2.75 each. So that's like £5 odd just for 2 rubber grommets. Well, that was a lot of money because they also need one on the back. Anyway, then I went on to the Halford site, and no, I'm not sponsored by Halfords, but Halfords do this, which is a box of loads of 80 odd grommets, all varying sizes and stuff, and they only wanted £8 for that. So if it's nearly a fiver for, it's over a fiver for 2 and £8 for 80, it's a no-brainer, isn't it really? So I just have to pass the cable through this hole. And it's just a matter of jiggling that to get it through, to go through it properly. It needs to come through at a bit of an angle. There you go. And then there's the rubber grommet. Bring it through so it sits home nicely. There you go. So it's nice. Oh, can't see it, can you? So it's nicely through the rubber grommet. And then let's have a look at bringing it round to the actual brake lever. Now the first thing to see is that if you put it on, it just slips through. There's nothing there to grab it or hold it. So what's supposed to be there is a ferrule, and again I looked on there trying to track one down, because like most things they've either got lost or something's happened to them, I don't know. And I couldn't find any, so I popped down to see a friend of mine called Tim Ollett, who's got a little engineering company, to see if he can make me one. And like he explained really, well, if you put that ferrule on, you've still got no adjustment as such on the cable. So he recommended getting one of these. I don't know if you can see it there. And it's an adjustable ferrule. It's got a thread, big knurled ring on it there that you can turn around on these threads, and the top part is captured in there. The dangerous thing really is that I bought these, and they're Doherty ones, so they're good quality ones, and they were £10 each, and which is, you know, if you think about it, it's a lot of money. But there again, my life depends on when if I have to apply the brake. And it's really simple to fit. You slide the cable through the gap and then just turn it so that it's not going to fall off. And as you can see and hear it, the cable won't go past that little capture thing on the side. So you just slot the brake cable and bring it across. Oh, you can't see. Slot the brake cable into the grip at the bottom, bring it across, and then bring that in so it's there. And then when you pull it, as you like that, you can see it moving, and you're pulling on the brake lever, which will be going up and down. And then as the cable gets worn, what you can do is you can just take the pressure off that and then just twiddle that knurled knob, and it will just push the ferrule out a little bit. But for now I'm taking it back to absolute zero, so there's no adjustment on it. So the next part is to put the cable onto the brake, the actual brake shoe, down on the wheel. So one thing just before I stop now, the knurled nut that I was talking about, it's got this ledge that fits in nicely with the actual brake bracket. So when you turn it, you can see that it fits nice and squarely home. I'll show you on the other one what I'm talking about. So you can see from there I think how it's angled, and when you screw it home it's nice and square, and it's nice and flush. There, you can see it there, and it's the same on the other one really. I'll bring it there and hold it still if I can. you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so as it tries to get down on one knee, oh dear, that all cracking. So we're going to do the bottom part now, and the bottom part has got an adjuster here. It's a knurled nut adjuster, and it clips into or screws into the brake plate. So I'll just feed the cable down. But before I put it in, I'm just going to use some copper slip on the threads, just so that if I ever have to do anything with it, it should be easy to screw in or out. So just take the pressure off that, keep it square, and well, you can't see one finger's in the way. Just turn it round, turn the adjuster around, and you can see it going in now. And the copper slip's helping. To be honest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe that. If I can find a rag. Change it. Just realised, because it's going to be down where all the road work or all the road dirt is going to be. So rather than, I'm going to put some red rubber grease on it instead, rather than copper slip, and then that should keep out the worst of the muck. Make it easier when we come to adjusting the brake. Just running it all the way down as far as it'll go. A bit more. Put a bit on fingers. So it's had copper slip and rubber grease. So I'll set it wherever. And then there's a little adjusting nut, lock nut here, which would, when you've got it to where you need it to be, it locks everything in place by adjusting it down. You can just see it was on there. So the next thing really, I can't put it on properly for it to work, because obviously I didn't realise about that missing piece in the handlebar lever, so I'll have to find that. But I'll just show you this bottom part while I'm on, so that you can see it. Just cut all that off. So it doesn't need this one, which is obviously the old one, because it's already fastened through. So I'm just going to undo that, and I'll just go over to the bench and do it for 1 second, because I'm going to put a deposit drive or a big deposit drive to do it. And it's all coming out just nicely. So I'm passing it through. There. And I don't like things to flop about too much, so I'm just going to put a washer as a spacer, and I'm going to put the bar through. Get the other washer. There we are. Washer. Spring washer. Nuts. And then this is, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, it's starred is this, and the actual brake plate nut has got a square, so you just have to find one that's about right, that's square, and try and keep the cable in as straight a line as possible really. And then when you get it onto it, it's catching, it's just square, like that. Then a nut goes on, spring washer, sorry, and then the brake retaining nut, like so. So that when the wheel spins round, to apply the brakes you would pull the cable up, and the cable comes up and the wheel doesn't go round. And then you let it go and the wheel goes round. And it really is as simple as that. So to apply the brakes, there you go, you heard him go and come through, and that's it. Good. So let's take that down a couple of turns. Lock it in place. Well, that seems to be working after all that. Proof of the pudding. There's a bit of slack up here. So we've got some slack on there. So let's take the slack up a little bit. More tighter, please. Get in there. Oh, yeah. Look at that. There you go. Front brake done. Just a bit loose on there, but put a little washer in there to stop that. Right, all done. There you go, front brake done.